Well, a huge welcome to everybody joining us gradually here in the Neverlastracing Esports event, which is team challenge. Two drivers from each team taking part in the F1 2021 cars. Hey to Riel, who's already checked in and said, "Come on, IRT." Do let me know if you're joining us, who you're joining us for. But my name is Webbo. And it's time for round 5 of our championship. That will be a 10-round championship. And as things currently stand, let me just get hold of the standings for you. We have XL leading on 125 points, with Relentless just 2 back on 1, 2, 3. Then it's a battle for third place with Elite Racing Team on 99 points. And NLR stepping up the pace after the first 3 rounds at least, up there currently in 4th place on 89 points. Then we have Evora in the Haas on 67, ADRT on 50 points, then CPI on 45, ARC on 28, IRT who have an audience ready for us already, IRT on 23 points, and at the bottom of the league currently is DTR on 21 in the Williams. So a big battle brewing for everybody. This has been very hard fought, and a little update for you to follow what happened after the last race. The top 10 was Russell, Nathan, Zredima, Isaac, Neo, Mr. BT, Reapers, Khalifa, Carmen's List, and Rex. That was after the stewards' reports and some penalties were applied. So let's have your predictions. We're heading out there to Suzuka, which should be my 3rd Japanese Grand Prix of the week. It's crazy how these things, how we get these coincidences in league racing, but that's what it is. It just seems to be everybody's choice for this point in December. Hey to Lars, Jordi, Brent, Stephen, and of course Harley, all joining us in the chat so far. Very pleased to have everybody joining us, and we're getting ready for Q1. 18 minutes of Q1. No drivers daring to head out just yet. Here we go. The first driver on his way out of the garage. Looks like it's going to be one of the NLR boys. It's Russell, who's often out first in qualifying. So we'll watch him getting going. Let's have your predictions. Who's going to be strong and who might struggle today? We've got Gerolf Yu and Russell as our NLR home team representatives today. CPI represented by Wagonar and Daniel. We've got XL, Zvedima and Neo. ADRT will be Isaac for not for the first time this championship, and Yavi. How do I feel without Sparks? I'm fine. I'm good. Don't you worry about me. Relentless have Justus and Passe joining us. Then for ERT, Henry and Thomas. DTR will be Robbie and Black Mamba. I think if I can tell my note, sorry, that will be Shaby and Black Mamba. The Alpine team, which is IRT, as Robbie and Shaby. And then for the Ferrari team of ARC, we've got Jackson and a missing driver, unfortunately. Someone has been late to the party. I think it might have been Leroy. I think was rumoured to be due to show up, but it is a difficult season. We get underway then into turn 1 with Russell on board as he just manages to navigate another driver coming out of the pits. So Russell, a little bit of counter steering there, medium tyres on the car on this early point in qualifying. Very difficult to get the car rotating well through this sector on cold mediums before the track is properly rubbering in into the Degnas, and that was aggressive into Degna 1. Degna 2, again, slight bit of opposite lock as we head towards the hairpin, and I wonder what kind of line he's going to take here. Very easy to bottom out the car and lose traction. Away then Russell goes through the 200R corner, which is the approach to Spoon. Drop 2 gears into Spoon 1. And away we try and get a slingshot, but it looked like that was slower than normal. Evora for the win, says Glow Sticks and Timo. Evora in the Haas, driven by Oscar and by Gelato. If I'm mispronouncing anybody's name, do let me know. So through the Casio triangle goes Russell fairly safely. I think there's a small margin here, but a 29.0 is the first time out there on the board. Let's see if I can find somebody finishing off their lap. No, not yet. Let's see where Yavi is. Yavi's just through the first sector, so I don't know if maybe Wagoner is ready. Bogorovsky is here for Delta. No, everybody's a lot further back on the track than I was expecting. So we'll follow with Isaac then in the AlphaTauri for ADRT. Hope you're all keeping up here, and everyone's joining us. Do share the stream on socials if you can, and while you're there, why not follow neverlastracing and Webo Red 5? I'm just organising my schedule for the next season of racing, so you can book me if you want to. Please like the video today if at all possible. It's a very small way you can say thank you. Isaac navigating the final chicane, living with a small amount of wheel spin on the way out, and it's a 30.1 for Isaac, quickly beaten by his teammate, a 30.0, but some way off the lead of Russell so far. Let's see what Relentless have got in answer, as Justice goes on a 29.133. Russell's time looking very good on those mediums early out. Only Black Mamba is daring to use the softs in this Q1 session. Remember, we will lose 4 drivers in that time. Bogorovsky says, what are my costs? You can see my cost if you join my server on Discord, and you can see some of my recommendations as well. So navigate the links through YouTube or Twitter, and you'll be able to get into my server, and we can have a chat. Robbie launching out of the Degna turns. So IRT needing a good result today. Perhaps you'd make an argument that they were underperforming at the moment. Wagoner on a 29.0 as well, but just quicker than Russell. So Wagoner gets himself up there in first place. It's not pole until Q3, of course. We are planning some rain. We're expecting some rain in Suzuka, so fantastic stuff. Can't wait to see that one. We'll look forward to that. Well, let's concentrate on qualifying for now, but I really appreciate the weather forecast. Always helps. So Robbie towards the final chicane. It looks like the track gripping up a little bit here already, as some of the first runs getting done. Blaze has come in 4th. Robbie in 7th, then a 29.9. Quite a significant field spread at this early point in Q1, but I think the drivers will. It looks like Jackson's doing something interesting under the crossover, running backwards. Yeah, not quite the desired line there. Toma for ERT, about to cross the line. ERT in the Red Bulls. Across the line on a 29.3, and it's P6 for him. Looks like we've got a bit of a lead group already. The top 5 are Wagoner, Russell, Justice, Blaze, and Neo. Tomo a little further back, but the field very, very tight up there at the very front. And of course, the teams can choose from their roster of drivers as to who are the Suzuka specialists each race. They'll pick their top drivers for the track concerned, of course. So Oscar for Evora, championship leading Evora. Into Spoon 2. Gelato for Evora have gone faster still, but by 0.003 of a second. Gelato, a 29.024 is the fastest time we've had so far in this Q1 session. That is has reached the halfway point already. Many drivers only going for 2 runs, I think, today. Looks like Russell is out there already doing a lap, so we'll join him shortly because he had the pace at the early stage. Oscar goes P14, so let's go and see Russell. Looking quite slow out of the hairpin. Yeah, he's bringing the tyres into temperature at this point. Out there, just coming out of the pits, is Daniel on an outlap. Let's go see how he can fare. Soft tyres for Daniel and Black Mamba. It's not really helping Black Mamba at this point. But of course, the trick here is just to avoid being eliminated. So just being outside of the bottom 4, top 15 will go through to Q2. A lot of tyre warming going on. I'll keep an eye on the drivers and see whereabouts they are on track. Looks like Daniel will be the first one to attack a lap. But he has got an Alpine weaving in front of him. You need to make a little bit of space. It's very easy to find people hanging around at the end of the backstretch after the 130R here and trying to get a good launch out of the final chicane. Here comes Daniel then for CPI. Away down the start-finish straight we go. Of course, sadly missing the Japanese Grand Prix this year on track, but we get to enjoy one of the most glorious tracks in the world nonetheless. Just leaving those apexes alone is Daniel. You can understand why. It's a track I often describe as being full of bear traps to destroy a driver's race. No such shyness across that apex curve into Degner 1. Flying through this middle sector of the lap so far goes Daniel. Perhaps slightly too much speed on the way to the hairpin. Didn't get anywhere near the apex, but there are multiple lanes you can use going through there. It's not necessarily somewhere to lose a huge amount of time if you're not right into the apex. Getting the car gradually towards the apex. Unfortunately, out of Spoon 2, that was a bit messy. So Daniel is perhaps not going to set the world alight on this one. Neo has gone fastest. Russell has gone faster, but not fast enough. Neo for XL, massive time of 28.743. Brilliant stuff from him. So for the McLaren and XL, our championship leaders, but Justus for Relentless has gone on a 28.6 so far. Fantastic stuff from him. So we're really lowering the bar here with Justus and Neo, and then Russell, Gelato, Wagoner, Blaze, Shaby, Toma, Geroff, Yu, and XL's with Zidima is 10th. So 2 XL drivers and 2 NLR drivers in the top 10. But the rest of it is made up of single team representatives. What's Black Mamba up to now? He's back on the softs and he's invalidated this current lap. Looks like Yavi is in a similar position. We'll see Isaac finish off his lap here through the 130R, which will be a lifting corner in the race if we do get some moisture on the track. Into the pits comes Isaac then. His fastest time, a 1:29.671, identical to the top 10 driver Zedima, on different tyres as well. So absolutely bossing this one. Now we're going to wait, and everyone's going to come out at the same time for the final few minutes, trying to benefit from the fastest possible conditions on the track as we close out this Q1. Currently in the danger zone, Black Mamba, Oscar, Jackson and Daniel. Daniel didn't get a time in yet, and he came into the pits. So Oscar, the only car out there on track, while everybody else is waiting. I don't know how much the top 5 will consider it worth their time coming in, going out of the pits and coming around again. It'd be good for practice and rhythm, but they could end up balking another driver on an out lap. So first out after Oscar will be Henry for ERT. Strange to see Henry down there in P13 at the moment. And we'll join Oscar for Evora. It's important not to use up too much of the soft tyres in the high deg first sector, because you're left with absolutely nothing to get yourself through Spoon and out of the final corner if you do that. Oscar over the Degner 1 curb, through Degner 2. Nice line, well within track limits. Let's see how he gets the car stopped down for the hairpin. That's nice, very nicely done from Oscar. What's going on in the pits, guys? Talk to me if you're one of the engineers. What are you hearing? How does the track feel? How are people feeling about their tactical choices at the moment? Who's going for mediums in Q2 if they get there? Oscar then trying to get himself out of the danger zone. Steering wheel will be rattling down this straight. It's just so bumpy. Late on the brakes into Casio Triangle. Looks like he's saved some tyres for this final sector. And away towards the line against the pit wall goes Oscar. And it's good enough for P10 and gets himself out of trouble. Very, very nice indeed. Let's track Henry and see what Henry's up to, because he, as I say, was the first car out the pits. But I do want to make sure I'm focusing on the guys on the bubble. Robbie's out, Daniel's out, ready to go. They're all starting their laps. Robbie, Daniel, Jackson. Look like a tiny correction coming from Henry there on the way out of Degner 2. Of course, he still needs to drive with a certain margin here, because he's on the bubble and can't afford to invalidate. Hearing that the chat's not working, but let's see if I can't get it back. Henry closing it off. There we go, we've got that chat back. Fantastic. And Henry up to P7, 6/10 faster than he's been before. Let's check in with Robbie. He's invalidated, so Robbie will be at a significant risk out here. Jackson was next. Jackson is 7 seconds faster than he's been before on one of those out or in laps. So let's see how he goes. Can he set a time? Just a couple of corners left to go. Jackson, sole representative for ARC today. Can he get himself into Q2? We're still waiting for his lap to begin, unfortunately. Jackson pushing. He's managed to get there on time. So situation for Daniel is an invalidation out there. Who else have we got closing out a lap? Yavi just overdoing it through the Casio Triangle. Almost wipes out a corner of the car. but an invalid lap will go no faster than a 30 flat is the best he can do. Justice is on the fastest time with Neo, Russell, Gelato and Wagoner. Excellent times coming in. Oscar looking relatively safe out there. Redeemer, can he secure himself a little bit safer? He's only a tiny amount faster than he's been before. It's not enough to jump up a position through sector 2. How's he going to do through sector 3? Just trying to encourage the car out of the corner using short shifting across the line. Then it was an improvement. It wasn't enough to move up. He's still at risk here because the bottom 4 drivers are all working the wheel right now. Robbie, 0.2 quicker than he's been before, still needs to gain through the final chicane to try and move himself up there. This is where the pressure is on so much, the drivers here. Jackson in P15, right on the bubble. Robbie for the line then. An improvement by 0.4, but not enough. And Isaac is helping out his teammate here, trying to pull him along down the... Oh, wow, an invalidation at the final chicane for Yavi. Oh, heartbreaking for Yavi. I think he was on for a good time. It was 3.5 tenths faster. I don't think it was enough, but he just got too much turn-in. So it looks like we're going to be losing an XL car. It's Redeemer in 16th. Robbie, Yavi and Daniel on the way into Q2, and that was frantic at the end there. Justice, Neo, Henry getting up to P3 was quite a late turnaround there. Brilliant stuff from the Elite Racing Team driver. So, as I mentioned then, Justice, Neo, Henry, the top 3 in Q1, a 28.536 and a 28.562. Your 2 fastest times. We'll rush through the rest. It's Blaze, Passy, Geroff, you, Russell, the NLR boys next to each other, albeit on different tyres. Gelato, Wagoner, Toma, Black Mamba, Shaby, Isaac, Oscar and Jackson, and then our championship leading XL team have lost a driver in Q1. We've got Robbie, Yavi and Daniel for CPI down there in P19, starting right at the back. But of course, we'll have free choice of tyres and it's going to be a long race. Unfortunately for the Q1 exit drivers, they're now just going to have to sit and watch the rest of the qualifying sessions, because they and hope to try and find their rhythm on the formation lap, because it's really tough for them to sit out now and watch the next 2 sessions while everyone else gets more practice and keeps themselves in the zone. Q2 is upon us already, 15-minute session for 15 drivers. I'll try and get to as many of them as I can, and I wonder who will be the first one out of the pits here. Any big predictions for the race? Will we see Relentless and XL fighting again for the win, or will we see a different team? Is there a particular Suzuka specialist that you can call out? Is anyone brave enough to suggest somebody other than Relentless and XL out there? Looks like it's an Evora driver. It's Oscar out there in the Haas. First out the pits this time. Bogorovsky says first podium for DTR today. That'll be pretty cool. Definitely want to see a nice close championship battle. Shaby to win, says a YouTuber I cannot possibly pronounce their name. Help me out with that one. Any suggestions, please let me know. We've got Isaac out there for ADRT. Jackson on an outlap as well. But for being first out the pits, we'll give preference here to Oscar, as long as nobody gets past him. I don't think they will. So the traffic issue slightly reduced here in Q2. We've got a problem for Isaac's car here. Look to be letting Jackson go. Doesn't look too much of a problem. Hopefully he's okay. We have got a problem for Oscar though, unfortunately, getting it wrong in Spoon. So let's ride with Jackson instead perhaps. Yeah, a bit of a problem. No, Bogorovsky, I was talking about the YouTuber name, not Shaby or Sheby2K. It was the person who said Shaby is going to win. But Jackson then beginning his lap on the outside of the track. Very different line to the end of the lap he will take here. So into turn 1 and turn 2. Picks up the throttle very gently. It's all about throttle application through here. And of course avoiding those treacherous curbs. Nice line. Looks like he's really on the edge of the limit there. Oh, but an invalidation just on the edge. Just pushing that tiny amount too hard. And unfortunately, invalidating this lap goes the Ferrari driver, Oscar. What's going on with Oscar? Second time I've seen him struggling with the car out here. Who else did we have? It was Isaac who was early out there, but he's invalidated his first attempt at a lap. I think the drivers are finding a very different, very different grip level than they were expecting. Perhaps the track conditions have changed out there between sessions, but it's really not happening for them. Again, another driver with an invalidation is Justice. So it's not happening for the boys, is it? Blaze then getting the car into turn 1. Pretty heavy right foot for Blaze through the S's. Running out the car on the Dunlop curve into Degner. It's a purple first sector. Black Mamba has got the first fastest time there, 29.3. Remember, we saw a time almost a second faster than that in Q1. But these are the tyres the drivers will start the race on. So Oscar will hope that he can manage to get around without flat spotting. But Jackson's lost the car in Dunlop and is off the circuit and out of the session. So we will definitely lose Jackson from our Q2 session. Sad to see Jackson out there as the only Ferrari driver tonight for ARC. Russell fastest by a wave, 28.458 from the NLR driver. That's knocking on the door of the times we saw in Q1 for the two fastest drivers. So fantastic to get that one in there as a banker. And Gerov Yu a 28.8, Blaze a 28.7, and the fast times are coming in thick and fast now, I should say. Passe's gone out on medium tyres, so there's definitely a group out there who are happy. Neo, what a time, 28.186, brilliant stuff from the Excel driver, alone there at the front of the grid, with his teammate having gone out in Q1. Well, he's not too worried. He's going to stick it on pole if he can. Passe comes in, doesn't like those medium tyres. I don't know whether Oscar's going to be able to put a lap together. He's going to go through the... no, he's way off the pace. Unfortunately, I think he's on his way in. What about our Elite Racing Team drivers? Thomas heading through the S's here. Keep my eye on the grid. Probably only time now really for 2 runs. It's a long track and you can get significant traffic issues through here. Thomas just getting Degner 2 slightly wrong, unfortunately. So we know if he's not right up there, we know why on this lap, for at least one reason anyway. Harley's happy about Russell. DTR tyres. Terso was pleased about Mamba's early time. It's going to need to pick up a fair bit of time now in order to improve on that one, to avoid the elimination. We'll lose 5 drivers here. We've seen Wagoner also have a problem. Wagoner will definitely be eliminated, so all you've got to do is beat the 3 slowest times now out there. So Neo fastest. We've got Thomas in the Red Bull for ERT 6th, but his teammate's gone 3rd on 28.697. Again, trying not to take too much out of their race tyres if they can avoid it. Gelato, I think, might well be on a lap here. Yeah, Gelato for Evora with a purple first sector for himself. Haas looking quick, I have to say. Especially as these red advertising hoardings go flying on past the drivers. You heard that partial throttle application followed by a definite step up. Gerolf Yu out. Gerolf Yu out of the session, but he's set at 28.8. So interesting that his time didn't take him up the order. I wonder, is that an invalidation for Gerolf Yu? And then he's wiped out. Gelato P3 for Evora, nice time, a 28.470. It's very tight among the top 2, the 2nd and 3rd drivers there. Thomas should be on his way in the pits, I believe, but we've got Black Mamba out, ready to go again. We've got Isaac out there for ADRT, just about to start his race lap, his next lap. There's a car in front of him on the track. Hopefully it's far enough ahead to not worry him too much. Passe is about to start a new one. Got a new fastest lap from Justice, a 28.067, and it's getting so tight. Justice with a great lap for Relentless. Relentless 2nd in the championship at the moment and climbing closer and closer to Excel. Isaac just right on the limit on the way out of Degna 2. Wow. Taking the high line through the hairpin. Right across the 200R apex. A little bit away from the apex of Spoon 2 for Isaac, but keeping the lap alive, keeping the speed up. 12.7 his sector 2 time. All we've got to do is get through this chicane. Nice turn in. Car looking very comfortable underneath him, and he's not happy with it and he's going in the pits. Just as it was building up. Well, Relentless are working together, as you can see. Passe and Justice going through at 130R together. Getting a tow here for Passe. Justice doing the job for his team. Not only provisional fastest time, but helping out his teammate as well. And Passe P8, 29.0, so a full second away from his teammate. Shaby has gone 5th in the Williams, so that will be very useful for the team. Any news from the pits? What happened to Jackson, Wagner and Gerolf Yu? What are our engineers seeing? I'd love to hear from the drivers if possible. Yeah, DTR happy with Shaby's time. That is an impressive time for him. Up there, P5, 28.549, as Blaze is on his lap here on the Alpine, across the curbs, planting the throttle. That felt very good on the way out of the last chicane, and it's 3rd for Blaze in a 28.355. There's a nice hole to slot in there, but with 3.5 minutes to go, we are at risk of losing Thomas, Isaac and Oscar. Gerolf Yu can't defend his time from this session. Let's see what Passey's up to. I think he's just finishing his lap. Yes, he is. Passey, any more time in the car, or are we coming in the pits? It's pit stop time. His lap age was not reading properly on his tyre graphic. Seems difficult to rely on that all the time. So Isaac on an out lap, warming the tyres. Thomas out there, he's getting out of the way of the traffic. ERT not necessarily doing any work together on the track here for the next runs in Q2. Currently, it's just us, Neo, Blaze, Russell and Gelato, your top 5. So that's Relentless, XL, IRT, NLR and Evora. It'd be brilliant to see the grid split for all the teams. Like to see the teammates far apart. Although it is also very fun to watch the teammates working together, I have to say. They're racing for cash prizes as well in this championship. The top 3 winning cash for their team coffers, and they've all put a stake in here to make it interesting. So Isaac trying to get himself out of the bottom 5 drivers. Blaze is retired. He's happy, as so is Neo. They're not going to take any further part in this one. Potentially Blaze could have been helping a teammate. Neo absolutely can't. So Isaac with a green, I think, first sector. Looking pretty positive at this point through Spoon 1. And that's a nice tight line into Spoon 2. There's a car facing the opposite direction. Thankfully was ghosted. I think is that Oscar again? It was. Oscar had turned the car around on the way out of Spoon. Spoon's not being kind to Oscar, and Isaac has managed to get a purple sector time despite that distraction down into the Casio triangle. I think this might be a big jump for Isaac for ADRT. Let's get through to Q3. Goes to the line. It's a P8, 28.871, a much better time for him. So that leaves Black Mamba, Thomas and Oscar, the drivers, at risk here. Gerolf Yu as well, because he can't defend. We lost Jackson and Wagoner earlier in the session for somewhat unknown situations. We didn't catch them having a problem. Thomas then is a quarter of a second faster than he's been before. That isn't quite enough to see him beat Gerolf Yu here for NLR. Nice upshift through the second part of the chicane. And we go across to the line then. Thomas P9, what a monster of a final sector that was. Thomas P9 for ERT. Escapes trouble. We've got Passey, Black Mamba and Oscar all closing out their laps here. I hope everyone's enjoying the show so far. Do share the stream link on socials to all your teammates for Q3, because that's where the points start being given out in this championship. Points for qualifying and for the race. So it's definitely worth their while. But Oscar through Spoon, and Oscar, I'm not sure how often he's had a problem through the Spoon corner today. Unfortunately, it's not happening for Oscar. Spinning out, I don't think there's time to fix that one. Black Mamba and Passey trying to get themselves out of trouble. How is Black Mamba's time? It's a quarter of a second faster. He needs a little bit more through here relative to Passey and Gerolf Yu. This will see the drivers start right at the back. What can he do? Black Mamba up to P11, a good place to start a race if you can't make it in. A 28.970. Oscar's planted that time in. Thomas has done. There will be 5 drivers leave, and Get Off You breathes a huge sigh of relief. He wasn't able to defend his time after crashing out, but 10th place he secured earlier on with a 28.865. So Black Mamba, Toma, Oscar, Jackson and Wagonar with Justice, Neo, Blaze and Russell, your top group for this Q2 session. I'll be right back with you. And we're back. It's Q3 time. We've got a battle here out there on the track. It's Relentless and NLR, who will start in the top 10, but Geroff Yu has left the session or glitched out, I think. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to us, but we'll be starting 10th, unfortunately for him, on his used tyres as well. But Justice and Passe fighting this one for relentless bragging rights, I think, and to try and get themselves a good starting position. Russell is out first, so we'll see him on his first lap. Track should be near perfect now for the drivers. This is Q3. Like I say, this is where the points start being given out in our championship. A reminder to subscribe to the neverlastracing channel and follow us on socials at neverlastracing and at WeboRed5. And please make sure you like the video today, and it really helps with our metrics. Who's got the pole today? Let's have your prediction. Bonus points if you predict somebody for pole who isn't on your team. But Russell is about to start. Let's get a view of how this one goes for Russell. I love Q3 in these neverlastracing esports events. The drama always ramps up. So Russell into turn 1. Very quick through here. DTR suggesting Isaac for pole. Generously. Good stuff from Terso. Great throttle application through Dunlop for Russell. One gear down right in the middle of the corner. And this one's looking pretty quick for him. Into the hairpin he goes. Tiny correction, but keeping that minimum speed very high. I think this one's going to be a nice benchmark for the rest of the drivers, but Russell, unfortunately, just catching too much curb through spoon 1, and that lap is all over. Of course, he can go round and do another one if he wants to. Justice is the next one, and we know he's been quick already today. So Justice taking up the mantle for Relentless at this point. We know they've been working together down the back stretch. And we go to the Casio triangle. Avoid those bollards. Away down towards the start-finish line. Hook that pit wall, 1:28.0. One of the fastest times we've seen already, and that couldn't be better for Relentless and for Justice. Bid for pole. That really is a good first banker lap. He can now afford to push like crazy in his second attempt. Only 10 minutes in this Q3. We've only got 8 minutes remaining. Passe getting through 130R. Perhaps could have been deeper into the first part of the Casio triangle. Let's see how much time it won or lost him. P4 129.154. I think he's going to be struggling to get anywhere near his teammate with that one. Neo, though, for XL, a 28.0 as well, but this time it's a 0.85. 1/10 of a second is so difficult to find round here, but can we see a 127 tonight? We haven't seen one yet. Henry going very slowly on the soft tyres on his time lap. I think perhaps made a mistake very early on and isn't able to push this one. Isaac is starting his bid. A tiny correction already through turn 1. It's easily done to get too much speed. So tempting to tackle turn 1 because of the blind exit. So tempting to take it. If I've said tonight, and if then I do apologise. It's a force of habit. I'm usually talking about races happening in at night time. Isaac's super close to the invalidation through Degner 1, and unfortunately too close to it through Degner 2. There won't be a new lap from him. What about Blaze though? Purple first sector for himself, I think, in the Alpine. Blaze tackling this one. We've already got cars back in the pits, so it looks like Gelato, one of the last ones to start his first lap. I'm not sure he'll make it round in time to do another one at this rate. We shall see. It's the IRT team driven by Blaze here in the Alpine. Big short shifts going on. Fourth gear to pull away from the chicane. And it's a P3, 128.232. And some of these drivers have not put anywhere near their best times in already. We've obviously got fantastic times from Justice and Neo. But I do think we've got more to come from certainly the likes of Russell and Isaac. Possibly Henry as well out there. Welcome if you're joining us for Q3 in this Neverlastracing Esports League, I guess championship really. It's a championship, it's a 10 race championship with points for Q3 for the drivers out there. So Gelato getting underway on his lap. Blaze is done and he's headed towards the pits, so we'll be just able to watch Gelato's lap in its entirety. He's been quick tonight for Evora. Oh, an invalidation so early, but he's got time of course to come in the pits and have another go. But unfortunately it's just not happened for Gelato this time out. Russell is going for an early attempt here. I think Garofew was classified 10th, yeah, but he just didn't. There seems to be a glitch with his connection. Hopefully he can rejoin us for the race. So Russell, it's now or never for NLR. They've got one car able to fight in this Q3 session. That looked very tidy into turn 1 and 2. Now it's dealing with the S's. It's the first time I've read a comment from Isu, who's here to support his team ADRT. It's all about Isaac out there. It's only Relentless who've got 2 cars able to battle in this Q3 session. But Russell looking good at this early stage. How does it look into the hairpin? It looks pretty neat and tidy. Staying in 7th all the way into spoon 1. And bravely keeping the foot in through spoon 2 and away down to the back stretch towards the 130R. Not much to do now. Of course, 12 seconds faster than he's been before out there. That could be a potential pole position for Russell. Looking silky smooth over the curbs of the final chicane. So Russell, is this pole? It's not, it's P4. P4, 28.290. I think he lost some time in that final sector. What about Isaac, who is tackling here the S's already? There was a temporary yellow flag, but it won't worry him too much. So Isaac didn't manage to get a banker lap in, so can't drive at 10 tenths. He's got to leave a small margin. What's he got in the tank though? Isaac, it's so difficult to wait for the car to grip up through the hairpin until you can get the foot down again. So Isaac then towards Spoon. Spoon has been the undoing of many drivers tonight, sacrificing a little bit of speed through the first one to gain back apex track position through the second part of Spoon. And away we go then towards the end. He's got a purple middle sector, so that's nicely done for Isaac. We don't get a sector time. Oh, 2 bites of the cherry on the way into the chicane. It's not the quickest way to go. What about Isaac? What have we got? P6 is it? 28.9. But Justice is out and attacking the lap. He's a 10th faster than he's been before. Could this be it, folks? Could we see a 127 tonight from Justice? He can go so quickly. He's now 1/4 of a second faster than he's been before. He is stamping his authority on this Suzuka track. He's taming the beast. It's away to the line for Justice. What will this time end up as? It's a 127.899. It's a new pole position, and it's Neo whose turn it is to try and depose Justice, but it's going to take some beating. The first lap we've seen under 128 tonight. Neo is 500ths faster than he's been before. He's going to need a little bit more than that to be on terms with Justice. What a time from the Relentless driver, and definitely continuing the Relentless resurgence through this this championship so far. Fantastic time. I'd love to know how close Justice is to his PB on that one. Oh, right, on the very edge goes Neo. That's it. He will not challenge for pole with that invalidation. Blaze neither at this particular stage because he's off in the gravel, just pushing too hard. We know Russell his lap is done. What about Shaby? We've seen some speed from him. Another invalidation, this time for Shaby. Passe then, 4 tenths faster than he's been before. He had the slowest recorded time in Q1, in the run 1 of Q3 here. We've got 66 comments and we haven't finished qualifying yet. Away to the line, Passe 128.5. Nice time from him. So we just got to see the final laps then from Henry and from Gelato. Henry ahead on track. No, Gelato goes second place from right at the back, 27.990. Wow, 1/10 slower, but another guy in the 127 club goes. Gelato out of nowhere for Evora. Relentless, Evora, XL, NLR. Where will Henry come? It's P5 for ERT. So we have different teams all the way in the first 6 cars on the grid. Fantastic stuff. What a great lap there from Henry to get up there in amongst it. And that's how the points will be paid for qualifying. Justice for Relentless. Relentless 1st and 7th. And then, of course, single car entries. We've got Gelato for Evora up there. Fantastic stuff for the Evora team. XL in 3rd, leading the championship with Neo in 3rd place and Russell for NLR in 4th. And let battle commence. What a fantastic Q3 we've just had. And we still haven't even had the race. So looking forward to seeing what the boys can do from here. Brilliant stuff from everybody. So Justice with pole position at 27.899. Gelato just 9/100ths off. Then Neo, Russell, Henry, Blaze, Passe, Shaby and Isaac do join us for the race, of course. So close up there at the top. 3/10 separating the top 6 drivers. Wow, not sure I've seen such close qualifying for a long time. Apologies if my voice is sounding a bit rough. It's been a busy week on the commentary front. It's my penultimate race of the year, I believe, today. So it's been a busy year on the commentary front. I'll be celebrating. If you can join me tomorrow at 8 p.m. UK, I'll be celebrating, if all goes to plan, my 150th race tomorrow. So look out for my live stream on Twitter as usual. Out there, brilliant stuff from the boys in our championship. Quick reminder of the championship situation. XL 125 points, Relentless 123 points, then Elite Racing Team on 99, NLR on 89, Evora on 67 and hoping to get a good points haul and get in the mix with the top 4 with that qualifying time from Gelato. Then ADRT, CPI, ARC, IRT and Delta T right at the back at the moment in the Williams cars. IRT in a very unexpected position in the championship, down there in 9th. I'm expecting to see some much better results coming out of that team very soon. Well, predictions for the race: we are expecting some rain, so that could confound all the work that drivers have done in the qualifying. But of course, giving points out for Q3 does mean that qualifying is not completely wasted if we end up with a safety car early on. What we usually find though is that there's a fast group who get away from the rest of the field, and we have a race-long battle. Let's see what it is that we have on our hands today, and how much of a factor the weather is going to play into this one. 19 drivers will take the start. We unfortunately missing one of the Ferraris for ARC there. Was that the first sign of raindrops? Or am I just doing wishful thinking? We hit the 69th comment. Can we get to 100 tonight? Can we better that? Can we get to 120? I hope so. So Jackson and Oscar disqualified from the session. Yes, it's raining and everyone's put on dry tyres. It's definitely raining. My eyes did not deceive me. Incredible stuff. We're going to have rain right from the very beginning of this race. It didn't look like it when I looked at the sky from the pit lane, but the first flash of a driver I saw and was a tiny drop of rain right now. Brilliant. I mean, I'm saying brilliant because I love it, but whether the other drivers are feeling that way. We've got some early disqualifications. So ADRT starting 18th and 9th, CPI starting 19th with Daniel, and 15th with Wagner, and then with Robbie for the Alpine driving IRT team, looking for a good result. Zwiedima perhaps the most unexpected member of the outages from Q1 out there. So if you were expecting drama and people are hoping to tune in later for the race, do make sure you get them on board the stream right now, because rain right from the very start, and it's falling pretty heavily. You can see it starting to splash on the ground, starting to form on the halo of the drivers. I wasn't expecting to see Zwiedima down there in 16th, I have to say. Jackson and Oscar 14th and 13th. Then the rearmost ERT driver is Thomas. We've got Black Mamba for Delta T in 11th. Everyone on soft tyres. Look at the rain coming down and settling on the track already. This is out of this world. I mean, I guess that's one of the safest pit stop prediction strategies from AWS I've ever seen. Just no tyre changes throughout. Stephen saying there should be an option to pit in the formation lap. Yeah, I definitely agree. Hopefully we will get Gerolf Yu, who'll be able to rejoin us. He got a disqualification, although that occurred during the formation lap. Very, very strange. Rain, all the drivers' tyres getting colder and colder, and that first lap, that first trip through the S's, would anybody rather be in the cockpit or watching today? Because that is very, very difficult for everybody. Here we go then. We're about to get underway, round 5, and it's lights out and go, go, go. The driver's just creeping away from the line. Looks like the Excel driver Neo getting a good start, but how brave can he feel on the outside through the second corner? He's very brave indeed. They go wheel to wheel, and Neo getting ahead. Gelato settling into 3rd place. How easy it would have been for one of those drivers to spin around. Speaking of spins, is Black Mamba having a problem or just being overtaken? I think he's okay. I think Black Mamba's still in with a shout on this one, but Russell consolidating 4th position. Henry looking threatening right behind him, and Thomas has left the session, so we'll need an invite to get back in. I think that's why Harley's there, though. He'll help everybody out. Any attacks into the hairpin for the first time? Not quite. Looks like the track conditions slightly different to what they were looking like in the formation lap, as the rain is falling diagonally across the track from that camera angle. Justus, Neo, Gelato, your top 3 halfway around the first lap. And let's have a quick look. Everybody on soft tyres, remember, we've got Robbie up 5 places for IRT. That's exactly what they need. CPI's Daniel up 5 as well. Gerolf Yu down 9, but in the race using the AI at the moment. Let's check out the front of the grid though and see if anyone decides that it's time to pit. The track looking so much worse on the rear of the circuit. The top 3 definitely in the pits. Russell goes past the pit lane, as does Henry. So Russell and Henry think they can handle the car in these conditions a little bit easier, as they just look like the middle of the track was a lot safer. Russell bailing slightly, losing the car through turn 1. That's going to be very encouraging there for Henry. So some drivers opting not to pit in order to not be boxed in. Henry though up there in P2. It's Wagner, the big surprise. Didn't want to sit behind Daniel in the pits, so the top 3 are getting away from the grid. So 15 seconds Justus is back from Wagner, make that 18 from the lead 3, who are trying to hold on to the car through the first sector here. It's very, very difficult indeed. You saw Russell have a slight moment, some tyre markings going into the hairpin as well. And yeah, all 3 cars wiggling their way out of the hairpin on this lap. There we go, 150 comments already apparently on the track already, and Henry runs into the back of Russell. Henry spinning around he goes. Did he lose traction on his own and run into the back? It's now a 2-way battle at the front as Wagner gets up to 3rd place, and Henry has lost a good 3 seconds, maybe make that 4 seconds as he tries to battle this one. Did Russell pick up any damage in that battle? I'd love to hear from our drivers. But in towards the pit lane, will we see him come in? Russell getting the last chicane wrong, going across the penalty, spinning on the way into the pits. Russell, a terrible end to his second lap as he gets the last chicane wrong and then spins on the way into the pits. Wagoner and Blaze are safely in, as is now Russell and Henry. I don't know quite how Russell spun turned that successfully back into the pits. So the top 4 pitting, that means Justice going on by and comfortably from the drivers who stayed out that extra lap. Justice has gained a huge amount on these better intermediate tyres and away into the lead of the race. He goes back where he belongs with Neo just behind. Gelato has dropped back slightly, so despite having the first pit box, Justice has maintained his gap because he would have had to wait for everybody to come past him in the pits. But Justice leads from XL, Neo's car, then Gelato, Isaac, Shaby, Robbie, Blaze, Passe, Thomas and Oscar, your top 10. Oscar doing a lot better in the race than he was through the latter part of qualifying for him. Robbie up 11 places, making up places after places through the first lap, and then gaining on some drivers who delayed their pit stop. Russell is down in 17th after that pit stop. I think Gerofyu is back under control, but NLR from 2 cars in the top 10 to being down in 17th and 19th will definitely need some help to get up this grid order and rescue their race. No one at the front is going to be taking it easy, as it's an 0.8 of a second battle for the first place, with Justice ahead of Neo. It looks like we've got him back in. It looks like Kavudi or Cav is very unhappy with the situation with Russell. Very, very strange getting in on the pit lane entry. It just didn't happen for him. So Justice ahead of Neo, just stretching that gap slightly, but a bit further back we've got a battle for 4th, led by Isaac and Shaby. Very difficult because no DRS round here. We're kind of relying on drivers making a mistake for overtakes, I think, at this stage in the race, as they get used to their intermediate tyres. 10 places up for Robbie. He's lost one in that exchange. It's Blaze taking the battle here, the lead battle for the Alpine team, and Passe down 1 place from his starting order, 8 places down for Henry. So definitely not a good start for ERT or NLR, but Relentless and XL right up at the front and doing very well indeed. I think everybody is confirmed on those intermediate tyres. 1 penalty so far, the only penalty given out to Javi, but Russell did pick up a penalty and paid it in the pits. That's why he's so far down. So Russell taking the battle here to Black Mamba and driving with somewhat, I imagine, somewhat extra motivation to try and make this race count. Gets past Black Mamba there comfortably before Spoon. Harley's not happy with the NLR, the fate of NLR so far, but the race is very young. Harley, don't lose hope. We've still got 22 laps to run in this one. Up ahead, Zvedima battling Daniel. XL versus CPI towards the final chicane. All kinds of locked up for Zvedima, and he almost runs into the back of Daniel. Just about holds on. It's so easy to lock up those fronts heading into the chicane. Thomas apparently hasn't been in charge of his car for some time. Okay, good info from Dexter. Let's just check what the car looks like. It looks like he's solid now, but yeah, we're hearing reports that it's the bot racing. It doesn't appear ghosted at this stage, or if he is, it's a very convincing ghost. So Thomas might well have got himself back into contention. Talking about contention, Shaby for Delta T, who I've got that right, haven't I? Yes, Delta T. Shaby up to P5 and leaving it until the 5th race to be up there battling with the big boys is Delta T. Similar for ADRT really as well, but it's Relentless, XL, Evora, ADRT and Delta T, your top 5 teams. We cannot see telemetry. Telemetry is an unfair advantage, Funky Chicken, I'm sorry. And yeah, Bogorovsky wants to see if the drivers are going flat here. Definitely not. 7th gear, in fact, changing down for 130R goes Shaby. It's very wet out there, Bogorovsky. I don't know if you're just trying to tease the drivers into trying it. 164 comments, so fantastic, smashing expectations, boys. Thanks so much for everybody's engagement. This is brilliant stuff. Do make sure you've also liked the video if you can and subscribe to the channel. Lap 6, and it's still the top 5 as they were in lap 5. Lots of very nervous drivers going through these wet conditions. Of course, no one's surprised, Adam, and we've lost a car. Unfortunately, looks like we've had an issue. Was it Black Mamba possibly causing a safety car? It looks like all drivers are running, so it's unusual to see the safety car come out in those conditions, but Black Mamba has gone in the pits. We've got a penalty for Yavi to be paid, so it's a safety car bringing the field back together again, and this is possibly going to help NLR after having big drama in the first part. In the first part of the race, so this will help condense the field back again. Everyone's on equal terms here. I do wonder if people will stop for new inters, and we know the inters will last the whole race, but if you've got an opportunity to get a cheap pit stop, maybe you take it. But on only 3 laps old, there's a lot of the race left to run. Just to mention, hopefully at some point Harley will be able to drop a link to my PayPal if you're feeling generous at this time of year, or if you're feeling generous due to the commentary. If you do want to just buy me a drink, drop me a euro or two. That'll be very well appreciated. I'm the only driver who doesn't, the only person here in the league who doesn't stand to gain a cash prize from the whole thing, and I'll be doing all the races if I can as well. Plug over. Well, safety car is waiting in the middle of Dunlop for the drivers, so no new pit stops just yet. Let's see if anybody, and Ryan's here to say hello. Possibly he managed to pick up the channel from my link. One of my biggest fans, Ryan. Good to have you with us. I don't know, Ryan, are you going to support the Evora team who are driving the Haas? Who are you here supporting for us then, Ryan? And why aren't you in a team yet? Because frankly, I think you should be. Justice leads on lap 7 under the safety car from Neo, Gelato, Isaac, Shaby, Blaze. Okay, rain continuing to fall here then. Robbie, really good for IRT, driving the Alpine cars here. Really looking for a good points haul, and currently the highest place combined drivers in the team. Of course, Relentless with the lead and 8th position will get more points. Then Toma, Oscar for Evora, the top 10. Then Wagoner right from the back up to P11. Henry, Daniel, Zvedima, Javi. Then Jackson, Russell, Geroff, and Black Mamba as the rearmost drivers. They all went in the pits. Jackson's trying on wets. How does the car feel under wet tyres, I wonder, Jackson? That's a big gamble. The wet's hardly ever usable in the game. But the rain is falling heavily, perhaps heavier than it has yet so far this race. I'll take opinions on that one. How close to wet tyre? How close to wet tyre conditions are we? Of course, when we're under green flag conditions, we will find out. The Inters will cope better for longer and in more conditions, but perhaps Jackson taking a chance here. He's struggling to get the car stopped into the final chicane, even under the safety car, so perhaps it's not quite there for him just yet. Safety car still runs on lap 8. You're not wrong, Ryan. Gelato is going well. Evora are going incredibly well. And I think this video is doing very well as well. Look, 177, the number of comments. Fantastic. And got plenty of people watching as well, which is great. I've got 29 live chat and 11 likes. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Seriously. If you're not enjoying this, what more can we do? What more can we do to deserve your freebie thumbs up? I know you might have to exit the chat for about a second in order to do it, but here's a good time to do it because we're just waiting for the safety car train to fall in line. Very good for Shaby here for Delta T at the foot of the championship at the moment, and currently our two teams at the bottom of the championship, Delta T and IRT, definitely having a good race so far. Of course, it's very young. Wow, Shaby really ragging those tyres to try and get back to temperature. Everyone's going to be pushing very hard at the moment to try and get that temperature up. Safety car will be in, and let's see how we get underway. Unfortunately, I'm kind of expecting a crash any moment from somewhere down the grid, and a pair of 5-second penalties to be hit. It looks like Justice has got a bit of a gap and has already gone for it. So a nice early launch for Justice, keeping his second gap. Gelato dropping back slightly, wasn't quite close enough. And that will help us avoid further problems, although we get a yellow flag in Sector 3. So possibly some issues coming through the final couple of corners. Looks like we've got a huge battle here going on for P10 in the race so far. Wagoner P11, Henry P12 behind Oscar. And it's so close between these drivers as they're pushing each other really, really hard indeed. Careful, boys. First time through the S's on these cold inters. Looks like Jackson's wets are not performing for him. He dropped a gap to Javi, and he's just dropped a place to Russell, who's on the ascendancy, as is Geroff getting by. So a double pass for NLR in the space of about 3 seconds. Javi, another penalty for Javi, unfortunately. Getting into the hairpin then. It's now going to be a 5-way battle for P10. Oscar, Wagoner, Henry, Daniels, Redeemer. Russell getting by heavy as well, further back. The guys at the front playing it relatively safe. These guys not so much. They've got less to lose, I suppose, at this point in the race, so they are able to push very hard indeed. Just playing here for a handful of points at this current stage. 1/3 distance. And it's relentless. XL, then Evora, ADRT, Delta T, and IRT. Your team order at the moment. And obviously, it's relentless versus XL in the championship. XL currently have the lead, but only by 2 points, 2 or 3 points, I should say. It looks like Wagoner getting very close. Will it be close enough for a launch? Oscar thought so because he took the middle of the road, and if you do drive round Suzuka in the middle of the road, it is very difficult to get past you. So Oscar on a definite defensive here, as is Daniel, with Redeemer behind. Daniel driving in his mirrors slightly here and falling back from Henry. Of course, we don't need to worry about DRS at this stage of the race. I don't know if it's predicted to dry up or not. We will find out at the same time as the drivers, I suppose. Of course, you can't always trust the weather forecast in the game. Sometimes deliberately. Most of the time not. Wow! Daniel driving completely over the top of us with our camera there, and almost tagging the back of Redeemer, but Redeemer comfortably getting back past now. And Russell, wow, Russell absolutely driving with a bit between his teeth, going for it against Daniel. Where does Daniel put the car here? To the inside, to the outside. There's only one way through Spoon. A little tag on the back. Russell gives the CPI driver and loses ground slightly to his teammate. It's still the same top 5 we had before. I don't want to cut away from this fantastic battle up here as Russell trying to get the inside through 130R. A clean move through 130R. That's brave. And does he open the door for Gerolf Yu on the inside as they go through the chicane? He's got the inside. It now becomes the outside. He's got the better traction zone, and Gerolf Yu following Russell through, and LLR on the ascendancy, P14 and 15. Henry gets by Wagoner just up the road as well. And this battle for 10th place and onwards is very hard fought. The top 5 or 6 very much static at this point. That's Justice, Neo, Gelato, ADRT, Shaby and Blaze, with Robbie close behind. A bit of a gap then to Passe, who is just slightly ahead of this battle. No, sorry, Passe and Toma are quite close up ahead of this battle, but it's Oscar, Henry, Wagonars, Redeemer, Russell, Gerolf Yu and Daniel all in a line with each other, and it's very treacherous trying to race so close together with so many cars in these conditions. Yeah, the NLR boys are starting to talk up in the chat. I'm expecting a comment like "you only sing when you're winning" to come in soon. But Felix, Cav, and of course Harley all here watching. About time you gave us a name check. Who are you here for? If you haven't commented yet, make sure you do, so we know who you are. Well, Oscar leading this pack right now. I'll tell you what, Shaby's getting close. Let's check in with Delta T as he's leading the 2 IRT team boys, and he's closing in on the back of Isaac. Little problem getting out of the final corner there. He's going to be vulnerable to Blaze as they come towards turn 1. Well, he used the middle of the road. He is just discouraging a move there, just about rescuing that situation. He can get back under race rhythm and properly where he needs to be on the track. Slight problem, he was getting so close to the car behind. Russell gets by his Redeemer. I knew if I cut away from that battle we'd miss a pass. As Gerolf Yu does the same thing as well. Russell's kind of parting the waves for Redeemer here, getting the driver ahead offline. There he goes, outside, inside, back to the inside again, off the throttle, because that was looking a little bit dicey through the S's. Russell never one to show a great deal of patience on track. And so it proves today. There we go. Gerolf Yu has caught his teammate and is waiting for his teammate to depose of another driver. Will Russell launch it into the Kobayashi hairpin? Of course he will. Down the inside, pushing Oscar wide. Does that mean that Gerolf Yu follows? No, because Gerolf Yu managed to collide with the back of Oscar, turning them both round. It didn't quite work that time. We've seen such good following going on with Gerolf Yu, but it didn't work as Javi's had a problem and gifts a place to Gerolf Yu. It looks like he's got some wing damage on the NLR Aston Martin. So Russell up to 12th now, and his next target will be Henry for ERT. All kicking off among that group. I thought it wasn't going to last long. Oliver's here for fun. That's good. That's what we want to see. Well, if you've found a team today that you want to be a fan of, let me know. If you've been convinced by anybody, Oliver, and especially if it's not the leading team. If someone has sparked your interest. Black Mamba getting past here. Javi and Redeemer who come in the pits. Gerolf Yu's got in the pits as well. We saw that damage on the car. So that battle that was 6 cars strong has diminished to 3 or 4 now. Henry leads Russell, who's catching, and Daniel. Russell not caring too much about using up those tyres because he pitted very smartly under the safety car for a second set of inters. So NLR currently convincing Oliver that they're a team worth following. Of course, I'm completely impartial. I don't have a stake in any of the teams, of course. Blaze for IRT, closing in on Shaby. Looks like Shaby's been struggling here to get back in terms with Isaac for P4. Justice, Neo and Gelato continue to lead this race. Relentless, Excel and Evora, but Gelato dropping back. Isaac for ADRT possibly closing in here on Gelato now. I thought we were going to have a three-way battle, but it's very much Relentless against Excel once again in our championship. But if Relentless can finish like this, they will take the lead of the championship. Oh, I love everybody in the race, of course. But yeah, I do work for NLR more than most teams, although I'm doing some work for CPI and I'm helping in the background, and I think I might do some commentary for Evora soon as well. So who knows? Who knows what next season will bring? Hopefully more of this kind of racing. I know that we've had a somewhat sporadic schedule for the NLR Esports Championship at the first half of the season, but the second half will come thick and fast and will be finished, I think, by the end of January. So after taking about 3 or 4 months to get here, the latter half of the season, it's all back-to-back races. Sorry, sorry, Bowers. That is an awkward moment. Sorry, dude. In my defense, you're not using the same gamer tag in Discord as you are on YouTube. Can I claim that? Is that a safe enough defense on that one? Of course I know who Bowers is. So Shaby P5 leading this group, but catching and getting on terms with Isaac now for ADRT. And a good battle up here for 4th place. Russell has caught Henry, and I think will be one to watch yet again. Russell definitely providing entertainment tonight. Let's go and have a look. What's going to happen next with Russell's passes? Where's he going to choose next time? He did it in the middle of the S's last attempt. So always good to have a lively chat going on, especially if I'm on solo comms. Look at the lake in the middle of turn 1. Nice effects on the graphics. I have to say, graphics, something that the game makers have done very well. Not much else, but let's be positive. So Russell up to P12 now. He was P4 on the grid. How far up this race can he get and try and get some better points for NLR? We were hoping to see NLR, the hosts, get themselves in the mix for the top 3 places in the championship. It's not looking that way at the moment, but like I say, the race is only half run. Lap 15, Relentless and Excel out there. I think Justice has now put a gap on Excel, Neo's car. So Justice just opening up. Thought Russell was about to get lively. Is he luring me and Henry into a false sense of security, I wonder? 3-second penalty for get off you isn't going to trouble the timing screens too much. We're collecting a fair few penalties at the moment. Quite how Russell, with all of his track excursions and driving offline that he's done, how he hasn't caught a penalty, I don't know. Robbie has tried a pit stop, trying to split the race in half on those inters. Doesn't look like the rain's going anywhere at this point. I wonder, is Robbie going to change tyre strategy? No, intermediate tyres he has going on, because the rain is falling super heavily again. Will we see any wet tyres come into play through this race? Russell closing in under. Oh, Russell, he just dances the car. Always on the limit, but never overstepping the capability of the car. Maybe slightly there. Never say never. And there's the first penalty for Russell. He's just unsettled on his trip through the S's, the aero wake. Maybe we should call it the rain wake at the moment. Just causing him to get a little bit offline, and I can see puddles starting to develop on the racetrack. Is this a sign from Russell that perhaps the race is getting towards wet tyre conditions? Like I say, let me know in the chat what your opinion is. How close are we? Look at the puddles going through Spoon. I think they're really starting to build up. Here come the penalties as well. Another one for Gerolf Yu. That's 2 in quick succession. We'll see if the drivers start to stretch out from one another and we get the first major accident under these conditions in this phase of the race. That will be a good indicator that things are going wrong. Here's another penalty for Jackson this time. And like I say, thick and fast. I'm pretty sure that the conditions are worsening through this point in the race. Lap 17, we continue to see Relentless lead Excel, lead Evora and ADRT. The sting has somewhat gone out of Russell's attack here. Slightly shyer, but maybe just needing to bring the tyres back. Looks like Robbie going pretty quickly on new inters. So some of the engineers will be looking out to see how much that gap between Robbie and Daniel starts to come down as he's put those new inters on. So is Redeemer, Gerolf Yu, Jackson and Oscar. But Wagoner, there's our first exit. That's what we were looking for an indication of the worsening conditions. Wagoner out of the race through Degner 1, and it's a safety car. So that is now decision time for the drivers. We've got Justus with a gap of nearly 3 seconds will be reduced to nothing. Gelato will be brought back into contention, and Russell, I'm sure, will be rubbing his hands together. This is very interesting, as Brent suggests. Yeah. So it's always worth watching these races. Things happen right to the end, but we've got 10 laps to go with the safety car here. The rain is teeming down. Will the drivers decide to change strategy here? What does Justus do? He fakes a trip to the pits. Neo does likewise. We'll see what Gelato opts to do here. I do think a pit stop would be a good move. Wow, he's lucky that that bollard's already been moved. So Gelato in the pits. We've got Shaby coming in, but Isaac and Blaze go on by the pit lane. Passe goes past, but Thomas pits. Henry, will he double stack? He will. He'll risk a double stack with his teammate. I think he's far enough back. Wow, Russell trying an overtake on the pit lane. It is legal, but it may not be advisable, as Russell crossed up, just about got the car stopped. I didn't see a penalty pop up. Gelato with a cut pit lane calls Cav. Well, so there wasn't. Russell going on to wet tyres. So Russell has made the decision to go off the same strategy as everybody else. He's convinced it's time to go, and let's can't wait to see if that one works out. So a lot of drivers refusing a pit stop here, and that includes Javi. Now, I don't think the inters are going to be good on 15 plus laps in the worsening conditions that we're seeing in the race. The safety car is going to be here quite a while, I imagine. 10 laps to go. It'll be a good time to share the race on socials if your team is involved, because they're about to get under a restart, and we should have fireworks at the finish here. If you can launch fireworks in this much rain. Probably not. I guess umbrellas. You can you can wave umbrellas in celebration. Well, 15 laps around that for the top 5 on their intermediate tyres. Russell's gone on wet, so has Oscar for Evora down there, but Russell has just lost 1 place overall, and he's now on wet tyres. Lots of puddles forming, and I do seem to find that the track gets wetter and wetter, of course, as the drivers condense in the field. The rain can fall on the rest of the track prior to the restart without anyone driving and drying the line out. Safety car on lap 18 here. Relentless with 1st and 5th positions after neither of the drivers opting to change tyres, which surprises me. You'd expect them possibly to split the strategy. Relentless, XL, ADRT and IRT. Then Relentless again, Evora. Then Delta T, IRT, Delta T and ERT. Everyone's got a T. Brent saying, thought we'd see more wets. Yeah, I thought we'd see more split strategies. We've hit 211 comments. This is insane, guys. I wonder who got the comment 222. See if you can get that one together. Rain lights, of course, on the cars. Everyone will have maximum battery to fight with. Difficult to use the battery up here in Suzuka in the wet, of course, because the car is traction limited so often on the lap. The rearmost driver, Oscar, a long way back from the safety car line, from the safety car train that we've got here in the race. This is race 5 of the Esports Championship, hosted by neverlastracing. 4 cash prizes for the top teams. Gerofyu has departed the session. We started with 19. We've still got 17 drivers running, and like I say, the next 5 weeks, I think next 5 weeks on the bounce, we'll see this championship out, and it just gets better and better as we run through these dramatic races. Let's see if the safety car is staying out. Reminder, we entered this race with XL leading the championship from Relentless, but I think that's going to switch round if the places stay the same here. ADRT were way back, as were IRT and Delta T, and they will be picking up a lot of points tonight. NLR were 4th in the championship going in, and let's see what this tyre decision will mean for Russell. Russell and Oscar, ones to watch for sure. Oscar with nothing to lose at the back, but Russell definitely gambling. He had a P4 grid position. Big problem at the start. Left him at the rear of the grid. So who's going to have this one, guys? Who's going to take the win? Who's on the right tyres? Those are the questions for me right now. Brand new inters for Gelato, Shaby. Robbie pitted earlier and has gained all the places back he gave up pitting. Robbie in 8th. Then also on new tyres, Thomas, Henry, Jackson at the back there, and Daniel. But the wet tyres on Russell and Oscar. We'll have some good initial bite, I would have thought, as the track is at its wettest when we get back underway, which I think will be the end of this lap. So we should have 7 laps of racing for you. Is that close enough to the end of a race for it to be chaos? I'm expecting some big things from Russell, because he hasn't disappointed through the whole race. But who else is going to have a go? Will we see Gelato get back up to the podium? The top 8 drivers without penalties today so far, usually an indicator of the quality of a race, of the field in a race, I should say. Everybody fielding their best Suzuka drivers in the team of 15 in the roster. It looks like Justice absolutely monstering the car, hoping to generate that gap. Not quite as good as before. Neo was quite close to him. Isaac getting left behind slightly and might be vulnerable here to Blaze. Passe a long way back from the field ahead of him. And yeah, some good mirror checking going on the back of Gelato's car as Shaby comes up the inside. Gelato has to leave space on the inside, and Shaby on those new tyres, getting them much better up to temperature. Russell's gained a place already on Thomas. Let's join Russell through the S's. There he goes, fighting away, just holding on. Needs to keep both hands on the wheel, Russell, as he's fighting Black Mamba, and they fall back from the cars in front. Again, Russell with the impatient work at the steering wheel, He's feigning to the outside. I fully expect him to cross to the inside through Degner. How he has the confidence on the grip on these tyres, I just don't know. Do or die, says Russell, and he'll keep hassling the car in front. Talk about that. Here comes Robbie on the inside, tagging Gelato. Oh, Robbie, what are you doing? Gelato out of the race as a result. Dramatic stuff. That promotes Russell, who got by Black Mamba. But frankly, it looked like Robbie just continually hitting the back of Gelato and turning him round. We go for another safety car, unfortunately, on lap 21. Daniel's saying in the chat that there's not enough spray and the wets are probably not the right tyre. Well, I definitely agree with you. It doesn't look like there's a lot of spray, but I would just caution that under commentary positions, we don't tend to see the spray so much. I guess visually that's useful for us, but we don't quite get the same view that the rest of the drivers do. The question, I guess, will be from Russell, how's he feeling on the tyres? He likes them. He likes them enough to not bother going in again. So we'll go around and come under the safety car conditions once again, and everyone will be screaming at Daniel to catch the back of the group. He obviously had a rough restart, Daniel, down in 16th, but we want to get back under racing conditions. Cav saying the wets are good right now. He may be engineering for... Trench says that's Evora taken out again. I have to agree at my first glance that Robbie had at least 2 attempts to back out of contact there. Russell then up to P7 and trying to get back to his starting position of P4 if he can. Gelato will not challenge for the podium, as I'd hoped he would get back on terms where he was before. That's comment 220 from Cav, and lots of support for Russell from Cav and all the boys at NLR, of course, here on their home stream, their home channel. So Neo with the lead. Neo got past Justus. My apologies for missing that one on the restart. Neo managed to get by Justus and then Isaac, who was quite a long way back from the two of them. So XL now lead Relentless, and it's flipped around. Trench pops up just to echo his comment in Discord. I can understand the frustration, especially as Robbie's gone in the pits for wet tyres and dropped down the order. Hopefully these things will work out over the course of a 10 race championship. Hopefully the luck, the contact, the driving quality will mean that the cream rises to the top. The bad luck tends to affect everybody to a certain degree, but of course it's harder to get back on terms on a championship if you've lost out at an early point. For sure, advantage XL and Relentless at this point in the championship. So safety car will go round again because Daniel has not caught the tail. So it looks like it's going to be a 4-lap sprint at the end, and frankly I think it's going to be difficult for us to not see another accident, not see another driver out or more contact when the drivers have been so frustrated through this race. Up 23 of 27. I think this is safety car number 4. Who can blame them for these problems? Because of the low grip conditions. The drivers are heroes. They've managed to navigate this and get the cars to the finish for their teams. You definitely see drivers pushing harder to finish races when it's their team at stake, it's their team's reputation, than if they're just on their own, fighting for their own positions, and they've had some contact or some damage. They tend to retire easier, which is great. I think it's fantastic when we see team versus team like this. So Will Will saying that Robbie possibly was lagging on the way out of the hairpin, making contact with Gelato. But it's certainly not turning out to be a good race for Evora after their qualifying was so strong. So you've got to feel for them. I won't say anything trite like it's called a motor race. And I'm sorry if that triggers anybody. Safety car in this lap. So Neo will become the de facto safety car until he decides to go and the safety car has reached the pits. So lots of tyre warming going on. I think these front five are going to be vulnerable to Shaby and Russell particularly as they get back underway. So I will watch from the front, but I'm kind of expecting Russell to be on fire, and same with Shaby on those new inters. Here we go then, 4 laps to go in this round 5 of the championship, and it looks like Blaze on the offensive, looking like he's about to attack Isaac on the outside. He's got a good line to go here, but he just gives up the lead, gives up the battle, sticks his nose where it doesn't belong. Did he get contact from behind or a snap of oversteer? That gives a place over to Relentless, who didn't need more places, frankly. Round goes Russell around the outside. Look how much grip has he got through the S's. Russell, as ever, aggressive and pushing hard. He's next got Shaby up ahead. Shaby's not able to challenge the back of Passe's car, as Justice staying on terms with Neo, but they're drifting away from the rest of the field. Shaby back on the offensive behind Passe as they go towards Degner's, and it looks like Passe just about getting out of there okay. I'm expecting some dive bombs into the Kobayashi hairpin. Round goes Russell around the outside, taking advantage of Shaby's position. Shaby blocked in slightly. Russell will have the inside through the 200R corner towards Spoon. Rubbings racing, but don't do it again, boys, as they go too wide towards Spoon. Who's bravest on the brakes? It's Shaby from Russell on the outside. Russell trying to hold on, but Shaby forcing him round. Is that Russell spinning? No, he just holds on. Russell's car command is absolutely brilliant, but he just lost out there. He's definitely going to be unhappy with the way he was treated for racing room as they scream through 130R. Russell with better grip on these wet tyres, especially on this first restart lap, trying to find room around the inside, but it's not given from Shaby. Some good defence this time from Shaby on the way into the chicane. Justice is 6/10 back, but it's all about this battle for 4th place right now, with Shaby 4/10 behind Passe and Russell less than 3/10 behind him. Henry looking to make a move on Blaze, but Blaze defending Henry with a masterful outside-inside move through turn 1. Some more hand gestures going on, but he'll have probably command of the racetrack going into the second part of the S's. Russell 1/10 back, and it looks like Blaze got turned round all the way back at the foot of the field there for IRT, who are having such a strong, promising race up to this point. Shaby in 5th place, Russell in 6th now. Russell trying to get back to his starting position of 4th, and it's all kicking off as you can only expect when the drivers have sat behind the safety car so long through this race. Some speculative moves there going on from Shaby. Russell gets the inside this time, puts Shaby on the outside, as perhaps is somewhat deserved, although it looked a little rough. Russell in P5 now, and looking at the back of the relentless driver Passe's Mercedes car. Rain lights on, of course, and like I say, it's all kicking off. Henry up to P6 for ERT, and we've got different teams in the top 7 apart from Passe, representing Relentless twice in 2nd and 4th. Brilliant stuff. ERT coming to the 4 at the end of this race, 6th and 8th. And Russell trying to make this one count for NLR. He's got so much more grip. Was that a piece of his front wing or a piece of the Relentless diffuser just flying off as they go towards Casio Triangle? Russell's got fantastic grip. Passe gives him the inside. Does he? Not quite. Russell, one wheel overlap. There should be enough heading into turn 1. Taking a long route round the outside goes Passe, and Russell up to P4. Like I say, back where he started, and we've got a battle for the lead about to brew as Justice for Relentless, with 2 laps running, is now hounding the back of Neo. How much has he saved? How much has he saved for the end of this race? In terms of ERS, I wonder. I don't want to give the game away for the engineers watching the stream with one eye. Russell, 7-lap-old wets, is 3 seconds off the lead. He has got a penalty though, and that will factor in later on the final lap, unless he can gap Passé. So Justice just falling back slightly here from Neo. I don't know if he's got enough to take the XL driver. Has he got enough left in the battery, in the tank? Again, Passé now back on still on the defence from Henry. Russell with 3 seconds of penalties. That's the key one to watch. Remember the different tyre strategies. Passé, that's why Passé is on the defensive. He's on 23-lap-old inters, and he's had to work hard for this position. I wonder if he can stay there in the top 5 or 6 with the likes of Henry, Shaby and Thomas hunting him down. Russell needs 3 seconds. He's got 2.4, and it's going to need to be a qualifying lap to gap Passé here. Isaac completely on his own up there ahead, and it's now 0.6 of a second between the leaders. Neo from Justice, then Isaac having a great run for ADRT. They were strongly in need of a good race and a strong result, and they're doing so well at this stage. ART, good to see one of the tail standing teams profit from a difficult race and come to the fore. Oscar on those wets, making up places there in 12th. Jackson and Daniel also on wets, but for me it's all about the lead as they head through here. Passé struggling behind Henry. Russell has got the gap he needs and just needs to keep the car on the island now as they close this one out. But Passé, as they go through 200R towards Spoon, he's going to have really one more opportunity into the chicane, and on traction on the way out. Will Passé be able to do it or not? It's looking less likely as the meters drop down. It's the final lap. Neo has just one major braking zone to deal with here as they head towards the final chicane of the race. What a race we've had on our hands, but Neo, he took the lead just before the last safety car, the last 2 safety car appearances, and Neo for XL wins in Japan, a soaking wet Japan. Second place goes to Relentless's Justice. ADRT Isaacs P3 is secured, and Russell back to P4 but given an extra penalty. Oh, I think that's a bogus penalty for Russell. I think that's one of those 20-second penalties. Passé in I think 5th. Henry, then Shaby, Jackson, Thomas, Daniel, and Zredima. Oscar so close to that final point, didn't quite make it. P11. Then Russell erroneously put into P12. I'm sure that that's a false penalty. And then Javi and... Sorry, I've just got a message. Have I said somebody's name wrong? My apologies did I say Justice wrong? Sorry, I was too excited at the end. Daniel picking up the official driver of the day for places gained. But there we have Neo taking the win for Evora. And they continue. They led the championship coming into this race. I think they will have slipped to second after a stronger race for the Mercedes driving Relentless team. Oscar's got some strong words for, I don't know, some random drivers, I guess. Neo wins from Justice, then Isaac. But it's XL Relentless, ADRT, and then the second Relentless driver, Passé, in 4th, securing great points for the current championship leaders, I'm sure, at this point then. Henry for ERT in 5th, with Shaby in 6th place. Good result for the Delta T driver. Then Jackson in 7th for ARC, the second ERT driver. Thomas, just forgetting, of course, we've got Russell's penalty. Russell was 4th. Passé 5th, Henry 6th, Shaby 7th, Jackson 8th, Thomas 9th, Daniel in 10th place. Then we have the drivers coming outside of the top 10: Zvedima, Oscar, Javi, Blaze, Black Mamba, and then we lost Robbie. Unseen in the race, we lost Robbie. We lost Gelato due to Robbie's contact. Then Gerofyu and Wagoner as well. We had 19 drivers in this 10-team race. We finished with officially 14 classified finishers, but we had a great spectacle. I hope you've all really enjoyed it. Make sure that you tune in 2 weeks' time for race 2. That'll be the 2nd of January. I hope everybody enjoys their break from racing, from competitive racing, I should say. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people still driving, but the fastest lap went to Justice as well, just to add that little detail in. I hope you all enjoy your festive period, and you'll be back with us on the 2nd of January, same time, same place. Just a reminder, I've been Webbo, your commentator today, and you can find me on Twitter at WebboRed5, where you can also make sure you follow all these fantastic teams on Twitter, and they can drop their handles in the live chat just before I close off. But congratulations go out to Excel once again, with Neo securing the win this time, then Justice, Isaac, and Russell and Passe, your top 5. And I'll tell you what the championship looks like once I've seen the standings and the any steward reports. But provisionally, I'm expecting Relentless to have taken the championship lead. Fantastic stuff, guys. Really appreciated everybody's comments, everyone's engagement. Please make sure you like the video before you disappear on us. And I will catch you all on the next race day.